Today I thought I'd be doing a brand new series on my channel where I'll be looking at random places on Google Maps. And depending how well it goes, I'm hoping that I might be able to do more. If there's enough interest, that is. So yeah, today I thought I'd be having a look at Liverpool. Not everywhere in Liverpool, but just have a quick look around on Google Maps and just have a good mess around. See if there's any places that catch my eye. So without further ado, let's begin. Well, I don't think this place needs any introduction. But to those who don't know, of course it's Anfield. So we'll just have a quick zoom in and have a look at some of the players who are currently playing for Liverpool. Yeah, see there's like Jordan Henderson, Robertson, Firmino, Salah, and a few of the other lads who, of course, enjoy playing for Liverpool. So of course we'll have a look around there. And there's a pub called The Park, which I can imagine will be busy on match days. And there's a pub there. I think the pub is shut here. It's the Albert. Looks like it's not there. And I think the club shop is there as well. So there we go. Let's have a quick look. Let's go up the road. See if there's any other interesting stuff besides Anfield. Even though I wouldn't like to leave Anfield, there's a Chinese there called Sing Fong. I wonder if they do good Chinese food. However, I've never been to any of these takeaway places around here. I wonder if they're any nice. And if they are, would you recommend them to me? And now we can see a petrol station. Let's have a look at the prices. £1.31 for unleaded litre or £1.33 for diesel litre. However, I'm not sure if these prices are cheap or expensive since I don't have a car. On your left is the pub The Saturn. On match days this pub is absolutely heaving. Yeah, one of the traditional pubs where all the Liverpool fans go to. I've never actually been there, but the atmosphere from what I've seen looks absolutely incredible. And there is a Betfred. I don't know why I'm looking at a betting shop, but okay, it's there. Yeah, this looks like an old picture house, which looks like as if it's been turned into something else over time. Imagine what it would have looked like had you kept it in its original form. And as you can see, there is another Chinese. I wonder what it's called because some of the letters are missing. I'm going to have a better look since I can't see it properly. Hopefully I can understand it a bit better. I think that says Chung Hing. I'm not too sure. And there's some like other cafes around here. And if you want to get your bits, you can go to Go Local. Just a typical shop by the looks of things. What's this? Walk On. Walk On Anfield. You'll never walk alone. Yeah, of course you gotta get your Liverpool puns in there. Here's an advertisement for some Fanta. I don't know what that's doing there, but okay. Liverpool convenience store. Another Chinese. Happy Gathering. Oakfield Coffee House. Another off-license. One Stop Express. Coco Burger. And there's a takeaway place called Peter Roheen, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Wonder how many more takeaway places there will be. Milk Sheiks, oh dear god. It's a terrible yet clever pun. I see what they were trying to do. Walker's Ales, the Oakfield. Which name is it? Make your mind up. And there's a pub on the corner. Let's see what it's called. I just need to get the right angle because it's a bit awkward when it's a little bit on the corner. The Paisley Gates, of course, named after arguably one of the greatest managers, if not the greatest manager to have ever managed Liverpool. Proper Liverpool legend. And of course you gotta mention the likes of Bill Shankly and Kenny Dalglish. And there's another Indian takeaway. Quality fireplaces. I wonder what the prices are like. I bet they're expensive, but they'll probably be worth the money. Quality electric fires, you can tell it's owned by the same people. Same livery and everything. Carl's News. Nabsies. Doesn't sound very scouse, but if they do good food, it doesn't matter. Another shop. Yeah, you can't get enough shops, can you? Cafe Brazil. And I wonder if they do any Brazilian food. I've never really tried Brazilian cuisine, so I don't know what it's like. Is it any good? Another pub by the looks of things. The Cabbage Hall. Kumar. At least it's not the Kumars at number 42. Does anyone remember that sitcom? I personally wasn't the biggest fan of it, but it had its fans. To keep myself occupied whilst doing this, I thought I'd play some video game music in the background, and currently the music is from Toy Story 2 from the level Al's Penthouse. Longstaff's Discount Flooring. Jasmine's and Frost. I can imagine their eateries. The Winchester Pub. What's this? Mio's Supermarket. Or is it Mayo's? I can't tell, though I assume it's the former. Dance Studios. Mayor of Easttown with Kate Winslet. Can't stand Kate Winslet, especially in Titanic. I cannot stand that movie. I cannot stand it. Or that awful Christmas song she did in 2001. Elm House. And here's Bully from Bullseye. 180. That was a terrible impression, I apologise. And let's have a look what the pub offers. Monday, Diane's quiz. Tuesday, Andy's quiz. Wednesday, prize bingo. Thursday, play your cards right. And some other stuff as well. And here's a place for sale that does bathrooms, tiles and showers. Or it previously did. Betting shop Coral. As we venture down the road, we see that there is a chemist on the right, and I think there's also a surgery there too. Guess what else I found, people? A shop! Wow! I don't think we've seen one of them before. And there's a pub called the Clubmore. Considering I've only been on this for a couple of minutes, it's mad to believe how many shops, takeaway places and pubs I've seen. But something tells me that is just the beginning. If you can see why I put the word Liverpool in the top left corner, it's because 1, that is where we are, and 2, to hide the postcode for privacy reasons. The same will also apply if I'm doing other maps as well. I'm not sure what other places to do after I've done this one, but hopefully I will try and make them as interesting as possible. Look at the colour of this Ford Transit, yellow and blue. Interesting colour scheme. I wonder what else this road will offer us. Let's see if there's another shop, takeaway or a pub. And by the looks of it, I think we found another takeaway place. Amy's Pizza. There's also a barber shop. And as you can see, I think that is a church on your left. More houses, and it also looks like the end of this particular road. Which way shall we go? I think we shall go right and head towards, I don't know, West Derby. One of the few places of Liverpool I know somewhat well, even though it's been a while since I've last been to the city centre, or the city in general. Now we're on one of the main roads in Liverpool, which is Queen's Drive. I believe it starts off at Sefton Park all the way to Bootle, or at least I think it does anyway. If I am wrong with this information, then I'm sorry. But like I said, it's been a long time since I've last been to Liverpool. One of the reasons why I felt like doing a video or a video series like this is because I want to try to do something different to the channel. Doing the same stuff like games, vlogs and all that lot might get a bit boring. I certainly think it would anyway. So there we go, let's have a look at another eatery place. Mexican house. Yeah, so I'll have a look. It's a bar and a grill. Apparently there's an early bird special for £9.95. Ugly Betty's. I assume it's a hair and beauty salon. And it also reminds me of the name of that popular TV program from the late 2000s, Ugly Betty. I remember when that program was all the rage, but honestly it wasn't really my cup of tea. At first we had puns of You'll Never Walk Alone with a Chinese takeaway place, and now we have puns of a TV program. Well, the TV show that ended like 10 years ago if I'm not mistaken. Normally this is a really busy road, but it looks like the day that they took the pictures it was a quieter day. Or at least not during rush hour. And I don't mean that rush hour. Because believe me, I know what this road used to be like on a busy day. Especially when I used to have hospital appointments at Hay. I think every kid, or at least most kids in Liverpool or outside of Liverpool have been. Whether it be Halton, St Helens or Southport for example. I may show you what it looks like, but I'll tell you what, it is one of the best hospitals, one of the friendliest hospitals you've ever been to. And there is a pub called the Jolly Miller. I've never actually been to the pub myself, but from some of the reviews I've read of it, it seems like a decent enough place. I thought I'd come off Queen's Drive and have a look at Mill Lane and see where else I can go. But I will definitely show you where the hospital is, because one of the roads to the hospital is off this road if I can remember. One thing I find weird yet fascinating is the fact that you can remember stuff from years ago, yet you can't remember what you did 5 minutes ago. It's weird how the mind works sometimes. If you're ever in the mood to play some football, then I suggest going to this field on your right, have a good kick around with your mates. It reminds me of my school days when we used to play football every break time after lunch. Our lunch times always consisted of football, or if we weren't playing football we'd always talk about the Premier League and what was going on, talk about our favourite footballers, goals and all that lot. We also did the same in college, having a good kick around after dinner. And if we weren't having a good game of football, we'd be flirting around with the other girls, who'd often tell us to piss off. But like I say, it was fun times. No one was selfish, or at least people weren't as selfish then. I do miss those days. Anyway, let's have a look at some more places. Buddy Lovely, interesting cafe. I wonder if they do a cracking brew. And there's a laundrette. Alternatives, I'm not sure, but I assume it's a beauty salon. And there's a nice looking Mercedes Benz there. It's one of the SLKs, I'm not sure which model it is. I assume it's the 320. I don't know an awful lot about cars, but that one is quite nice to look at. And the same could be said about some of the houses on the right. Looks like there might be some more shops and takeaway places. There we have Eaton Road Fish Bar, Carl's News Agent and Label Hair and Beauty. Look, we have Colleen Rooney and Rebecca Vardy. Wags. Yeah, and by the looks of it, it's a dog and groom service. If you want to take your dogs there, then there you go. Le Bay Boutique. Or is it Le Bebe? I don't know. At least it's not the same Bebe who played for Manchester United. What a pile of wank he was. Here's a creative name for your salon. The Salon. What a great name for a place. And we've got another barber shop on your left. West Derby Schoolwear. What amazes me is that even though we're not in the city centre of Liverpool, there are still plenty of shops on some of the more quieter roads. One thing I would like to mention is that sometimes the maps aren't always updated, so sometimes some of these pictures might be taken from a couple of months ago or even a few years ago. Right, I think I'm at the right place near where Alder Hey Hospital is. In fact, if you can see on your right, if you see where it's all empty, that's where the old part of the hospital used to be. But it's been knocked down for the newer part, which I will show you in a few seconds if we can get to that. Look, I'm zooming in on like the old grounds. If you don't know what the old Alder Hey Hospital looks like, here it is. Opposite to where the old hospital used to be is a butcher's, Riley and Son. I wonder if they do some nice sausages to go on a good fry up. Looks like we have a cake shop, another Chinese takeaway, and a few other places. The sewing room, John Kerr. And no, I'm not talking about the actress Deborah Kerr. Apologies for the lame joke. I wonder what other places we've got. We've got Hallmark, a card shop. What's this? Milkshake bar, cafe and deli. Remember to give a round of applause for the laziest name for a cafe ever. You gotta applaud these people, you've got to. It's only the courteous thing to do. Anyway, let's quickly move on. To your right, this is where the new Alder Hey Hospital is. I've never actually been to the new one, I've only been to the old one. Like I've said about 5 minutes ago, Alder Hey is one of the nicest hospitals you'll ever go to. All the doctors and nurses are very friendly, and they were great to me throughout the time I went there. Because when I was a kid I wasn't very well, mostly because of my bowels. I'm sorry to gross you out or anything like that, but let's just say I couldn't do number 2s. And speaking of number 2s, this is a good number 2. Mystic Cave from Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Easily my favourite Sonic game and Sega Mega Drive game of all time. I absolutely love it. In fact, I love Sonic 2 almost as much as I love my football club and the Beatles. Anyway, this is a better view of the new Alder Hey Hospital. It might not have the same charm as the original building, but its legacy still lives on. We're in the part of Liverpool called Knotty Ash, and the reason why I remember it is because of many hospital trips as a kid. If it wasn't for that, I would forget which part of Liverpool this is. And as you can see, there's a random van with Monster Energy sticker on it. And I'll tell you what, that and Iron Brew are the two most disgusting drinks I have ever had. The smell and the taste of them are enough to make me gag. If you enjoyed them as your beverage, then good for you. But for me, I avoid them like the plague. Speaking of other drinks I don't like, I enjoy blackcurrant juice. However, it is blackcurrant and apple that I do not like. There's two different flavours going on at once, and it doesn't help when I already dislike apple juice. The same can also be applied to orange and pineapple juice. Orange juice on its own is fantastic, but when you have something like pineapple juice, which I do not like, it just ruins the experience for me. In my opinion, these are two ingredients that should be separated as far as humanly possible, because together they taste really weird, but that might just be me. Anyway, there is a KFC and a Burger King there, and if it's not torture, then I don't know what is. And to add further insult to injury, there's a McDonald's a bit further down this road. Many people argue that the food is crap, and let's be honest, it is. But for whatever reason, you still enjoy eating it, depending which ones you go to, because I know some are not very good. Some of the food is absolutely disgusting. But if you know the right places, then you'll end up having a nice meal, even if you may regret it later on. And talk of the devil, look at that, an advertisement for McDonald's. For those who are watching this video and are currently on a diet, I'm truly sorry. I honestly don't know how many McDonald's there are in Liverpool. I can imagine there's at least 2 or 3 dozen. And I feel sorry for those who have to live right next to one. And the torture never ends, because as you can see, there is an ice cream van right there. What do you fancy from the ice cream man today? I fancy a small vanilla ice cream with a flake. You've got to have a Cadbury's flake on there, because without it, you're a complete fool. Unless you don't like vanilla ice cream or chocolate. And here's the McDonald's I was talking about. I said that there was one on this road. Don't ask me how I remembered that, but I just did. Anyway, what was I talking about before? Oh yeah, that's right, I was talking about drinks that I didn't really like. Yeah, the ones that I mentioned I wasn't too keen on. Monster energy drinks, Iron Brew, blackcurrant and apple juice, and orange and pineapple juice. Yeah, there are a few others I could include. I don't like Red Bull. The smell of it is enough to make me throw up. Kind of like Monster energy drinks. I like lemonade, but I do not like our whites. And my reasons for not liking it is because 1, I find it rather sharp on the throat and a bit too lemony. And that is why I will always prefer Schweppes over it. Because for starters, it has the right amount of lemon flavour, it's not overly sweet, and it's much kinder to your throat. Or at least it is for me anyway. There is nothing more unpleasant than swallowing something that feels like glass. One other drink that I used to absolutely love, but when I tried it a few years back, I realised that it wasn't anywhere near as nice as I remember it to be. Dare I say it was rather unpleasant, and that is cream soda. As a kid I would drink that stuff for days, but now I can't even stomach it. When you're younger you don't realise that your taste buds change over time. For instance, as a kid I used to absolutely hate cauliflower. Now it's one of my favourite things to have with a roast dinner. Yet what's even funnier is that I used to absolutely love broccoli. Now I can't even eat the stuff. I don't know why. As you can gather, my taste buds are rather weird. But hey ho, it is what it is. Wait a minute. What the hell is this colour scheme? Grey windows and you paint your house in custard. I mean, who's responsible for that colour choice? Normally I wouldn't question people's preferences, but what on God's green earth is this colour choice? I've seen some weird colour combinations during my time, and what we've just witnessed here is a perfect example of this. So anyway, we are in a part of Liverpool called Huyton. And the only thing I know about Huyton, apart from a couple of shops and an Asda, is that the former Everton player Peter Reid was born there. One of Everton's greatest players of the 1980s, arguably their most successful era. He also played for Man City, and of course he managed Sunderland. Anyway, I'm going to be quiet for a few seconds so you can listen to some of this awesome music. So what do you think of that? That is from the NES game The Silver Surfer, which I'm sure most people know that the Angry Video Gamer did a review of it. One of his best reviews he's ever done. Sure, the game isn't particularly good and is now an impossible, but that music certainly makes up for it. Right, let's have a look where we need to go. I think we shall go right, where it says Neverly. I mean, if we go straight on, it'll take me to my hometown. However, I think I will save that for another time. So this road right here leads you to Neverly, as well as a few other places, and then I think we will end the video when we get to the airport, which is named after John Lennon, and deservedly so in my eyes. For any people who don't know, the Beatles are my all-time favourite band, and have been since my childhood. I can't exactly remember how old I was, must have been about 6 or 7. Even though I enjoy all of their albums greatly, my favourite of theirs has to be Rubber Soul from 1965. That has some incredible songs on it, such as Norwegian Wood, In My Life and Michelle. There are many others I could list off on that album, and honestly, if you haven't heard that album, I think you should, depending if you're a Beatles fan or not. Even if you're not, I still think it's worth a listen. And another reason why I got into the Beatles was because of Ringo Starr. And the reason why I say Ringo Starr is because he narrated my favourite kids show growing up, which was of course Thomas the Tank Engine. However, he only narrated the first 2 seasons before Michelangelo took over. Originally, Ringo was about to narrate season 3, but because he was having a drinking problem at the time, the people responsible for making the TV show decided to get Michelangelo instead. Although the narration was different from one another, one thing they have in common is that they're both Scousers. Sadly, Michael is no longer here. He will be remembered fondly by those who grew up watching Thomas the Tank. After all, he is the longest serving narrator for the show, and apparently he narrated 14, that's right, 14 seasons for the show, seasons 3 all the way to 16. But it was around season 6 where I stopped watching Thomas, because at that age, my mind was mostly focused on video games and football, as well as other things. What the hell's happened to that police car? It's glitched. What the hell is this glitch? Yeah, I forgot to mention that Google Maps sometimes glitches out. And my god, is it a beautiful mess. And that stretched police car is one of many. Trust me, we may see a few more glitches along the way. And most likely I probably missed a few glitches earlier on. On your left is the Bellevale Shopping Centre, which I've never been to. But to be honest with you, I'm not expecting many exciting shops, just like many shopping centres nowadays. I'm not sure what shopping malls are like in America, but here in the UK you don't really get much variety. Unless it's like the really big ones like the Trafford Centre for example, or even Cheshire Oaks. However, most people nowadays would rather do their shopping online, and honestly I don't blame them, it's much easier, as well as it being less stressful. But the one disadvantage to all of this is that local businesses like butchers for example are struggling financially. And don't get me wrong, they're still getting in money, but not as much as they would like. And in fact, businesses like that used to get more money before the rise of online shopping. Now don't get me wrong, online shopping is great for many of things, but at the same time it is putting smaller businesses in jeopardy. Although some are still running very strong, many unfortunately have had to close their doors for good. And I've seen this happen to many places in my town. With the ever increasing amount of supermarkets and the fact that you've got eBay and Amazon to do your shopping, most towns are now ghost towns, I'm afraid to say. So quiet in fact that you see tumbleweed blowing through, kinda like a western movie. I'm afraid to say that these days are well and truly over. I wish they weren't, but we've got to face reality. Social media has pretty much taken control of most people's lives, for better or for worse. I kinda miss the days where everything wasn't as accessible. and you had to discover things for yourself. Not only that, but people were less critical about your taste. Of course you had the few minority who would take the mickey out of you, but it was mostly your friends and family. And for 99% of the time it wasn't malicious, and if it was, they would apologise immediately and hold their hands up. Of course you had selfish people back then who would not do that, but they were very few and far between, or at least weren't as noticeable. In my honest opinion, I feel as if people were a lot more positive back then. I'm not saying they're all selfish nowadays. Of course you got some very kind people who will do anything to help anyone in need. The only people who I'm referring to as selfish are a very small minority. But unfortunately it's those types who seem to get more of the limelight rather than the generous people who will do anything to help others. Hence why I try and avoid the news as much as possible, and the more you avoid it the better in my honest opinion. The last thing that anyone would want to listen to is negative news, especially when you're at your lowest point. Anyway, I want to talk about something a bit more positive. After a lack of motivation, I feel happy to be making videos once again, mainly because I want to try out new ideas for the channel, and of course get out of my comfort zone. I don't really want to relegate myself to just doing vlogs and video game related stuff, because I would get sick and tired of doing YouTube, which is not how I want to feel. If I lose subscribers as a result of this, so be it, I don't mind. I just want to do YouTube for fun, and fun only. Anyway, here's a nice looking pub on the left called The Elephant. Even though I've never been to it, I believe it's a decent pub that serves good food. I believe we're in the little village called Walton, and I think down this road there is a small little theatre. Let's have a look if it is that road. I'm sure it is. Yes, it is. Let's have a look. Apologies about that. But anyway, this building right here was the old airport for Liverpool, but as you can see it is now a hotel. And now we go to the new airport. Just give me a second. So here is our final destination, the current Liverpool airport. And if you know your Beatles, let's just say there's a certain reference to one of their songs right here. And this is where we come to the end. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and there should be another one like this very soon. I shall see you very soon. Take care.